Oslo Accords 30 years ago.
The United Nations Human Settlement Program, UN Habitat, that is mandated to promote socially and environmentally sustainable towns and cities, has launched the Building Climate Resilience for the Urban Poor BICROP, that is an implementation strategy towards enhancing adaptive capacity of the urban poor population. I spoke to UN Habitat Executive Director Maimuna Mohammed during the sidelines of the Africa Climate Summit on the importance of this strategy.
This BICROP is building a climate resilient for urban poor. Actually, the idea started in 2019 when we had the discussion at the Madrid on climate change and climate emergency. 2019, before COVID, we already thought about it. And then this building climate resilient for the urban poor, because we realized that when climate change happens, the poor is the most vulnerable. Where are the poor is having in the informal settlement. So that's why we came out with the building climate resilient for urban poor. We come out with the strategy, and we will come out with the action plan. How can we looking in more integrated way to building community climate resilient in terms of housing, in terms of public spaces, in terms of waste management, in terms of the overall planning of the cities, which will at the end of the day impact the livelihood of the urban poor. Because, for example, like by 2050, 70% of the population will be in city. And up to now, during our SDG 11 report, 1 billion globally, 1 billion people live in slum. 800 million have no access to basic services like water and electricity. Are we going to continue this? So this building climate resilient for urban poor is trying to tackle the poor people in terms of the income and also in terms of the livelihood of the people, this 1 billion people globally in the world. UN Habitat is dealing with cities, dealing with human settlement. And human settlement here is not only the big cities, the metropolitan, but it's also the smaller cities, intermediary cities, and also the rural areas. And the future is urban. You heard that so many member state, head of state, even the president of Kenya mentioned that the future is urban. But what future, what urban that we would like to see in the future? Is it the urban full of slum, full of urban pollution, or full of rubbish? I think that's what UN Habitat mandate is, to help the member state to plan and manage the urbanization. And we are the custodian of SDG 11. And managing urbanization is very much linked to climate change. If you make your cities right, at the end of the day, they will be reduced in terms of the challenges in climate. For example, if you make your cities right in terms of the planning, we might reduce pollution, it might reduce flooding, it might also reduce the formation of slum. That's where, to me, urbanization and climate change is interlinked very, very closely. We are very special UN agency, I would say, that because we work with the national government, we work with the regional government, and we also work with the mayors or the governors and the community, the NGO, and also the women and the youth. And what we help is that we have the new urban agenda, which was approved in Quito in 2016. That is the how. And this new urban agenda, we help the member state to prepare their national urban policy. From the national urban policy, then we look what are the priorities of each country. And then from the national urban policy, we trickle it down to the local action, the local policy at the mayors and the governors level. And then we also work together with them according to the policy, the project. For example, like in Kenya, we do the Go Blue project, we do the urban regeneration project for the Nairobi River. We also have the waste management program, we have the public spaces program. So for us, we have the vertical and horizontal integration. Vertical from the UN Habitat Global, national policy, national government, local government, and the horizontal is the private sector, community, and local government.
Now, carbon markets are trading systems in which carbon credits are